when reality meets theory again. Good morning, everybody. So today I have a plan, and that plan calls for 18 miles into Standing Bear Hostel. Raised this yesterday as far as storm coming in. My actual park registration is about to expire. 2 zeros in Gatlinburg. So today is the day that I did 16 plus yesterday, and today was calling for 18. And the terrain, topographic profile is certainly sort of conducive or supportive of that. However, yesterday, you'll recall, as I attempted to plummet to earth over a cliff, I made note of the fact that I had not had my knee compression sleeves on. And lesson learned from that. I have them on today, of course. But while I was at Neil Gap, I had decided that my micro spikes were too heavy. So I sent them back to my facilitator. And today is the first day that the trail will teach me that the one common denominator in all your failed relationships is you. So, dumbass Dan is out here with a big grin on his face, slipping and sliding in his trail runners on ice. You can see it's actually been warm yesterday and today, but of course overnight didn't get to freezing. But this is the dark side of the moon, right? This is the back side of the hill that is in the shade and has not been able to thaw from the snows that came early last week. So look at this thing. It is a recipe for, sorry, I'm dumbass Dan, you know, when one thing comes, it comes in bundles, right? It's not one thing, right? So, so here I am taking baby steps, slipping and sliding. I do have the rubber cups for my trekking poles. And as preposterous as that sounds is, because this is ice hard, those actually improve a little bit the footing for the poles. Now, as far as the micro spikes, you know, a number of people have said, yeah, you know, I didn't really use them. I thought about using them, but didn't want to stop. Blah, blah, blah. Well, today is the day that my 18 miles would really be in less jeopardy if I had the proper equipment. But, as is all things with a thru-hike, that's the issue of a thru-hike. I can have all the equipment for an expeditionary adventure, but what can I afford to carry on my back? And what are the priorities? So, for the last, I think it's now 19 days, micro spikes have not been a priority, so they were cast aside for things such as more winter weight sleeping gear when I was down in the 9s and 12s with wind chills well below that. So, you know, bring it up just for consideration. people have raised it sort of esoterically. Oh, what about, should have. Well, here's just what you are likely to face, and you have to decide whether the microspikes warrant consideration for bringing for this day. This may be the only day. I haven't really made a decision yet, but it is certainly at the forefront of my mind, because my 18 miles in this will take me maybe 18 hours. Yeah, I mean, this is like a death trap. This is literally like a death trap. Hopefully it'll get a little bit better later in the day. It's supposed to warm up. But I could literally take 18 hours. I'm certainly not doing a mile an hour right now. There's no way. And having plummeted over the cliff yesterday, I'm sort of disinclined to do that again. Have me call me crazy, but Scars says, hey, nah, let's stay up on your 2 feet and take it cautiously. But look at this. It's never ending. I hope this just rounds the bend and I get into area where sun can hit it, or did hit it yesterday and soaked into the ground, and will leave a less treacherous condition. Okay, so that being said, as we've touched somewhat on the plan, into Standing Bear Hostel tonight. I have been cautioned by like a bunch of people, don't even bother, don't go there. It's a dump. People are really negative on it this year. Maybe they always are, but I never really, I didn't highlight it in my book as, well, I guess I did. I guess Steve Walker or Early Riser or somebody had said, you know, poor but doable. And maybe that's the sort of level it stands at. But it does seem like people are particularly negative. The trail from up ahead is texting back to the trail back here. So I had a couple guys last night considering about whether they would just bypass it because of that and go on to Hot Springs. I think I'm doing 2 nights, technically 3 days, because it's one of those situations where you're going into a town, and do you spend the money for an extra hotel night when the day's already gone? If I got in there, it would be, you know, another big day, 18 miles or something, and I would get in so late, and so then I'm paying for a hotel room for a night that I'm really not using it. I don't mind sleeping in my tent, so I think I was going to hold up in the shelter just outside. It's only like 3 miles, 3.9 maybe miles outside of town, and then go in real early, get that full day in Hot Springs, have my one night, and then like midday next day head back out on the trail. So that's sort of the plan, looking out a couple days. Try not to get too specific because all things change. On the other hand, boy, look at this forest again. Last night was the topic of conversation around the campfire, and we actually did have a campfire. Remember Hans and Franz, the 2 Germans I met in Hiawassee? Talk about the slinky effect of the trail. So they were starting back on the trail when I went to do the slack pack. They were in the shuttle with me. So Hans and Franz are brothers. Hans, the oldest, came out and did it in 2013, got the Virginia blues and dropped. Beat himself up about it for years. Brother came along and said, listen, we need to do this and do it together. Now they are great guys, seriously. Anyway, they made a fire last night. So the smell of that wood smoke was awesome. But I guess more important and more reflective is we actually were able to sit outside for the first night. We were actually able to not freeze to death trying to eat dinner. I've been eating in my tent. Last night was warm enough that we all sat around outside enjoying the time together. That was really cool. Hydration, been a big issue for everybody, not hydrating the body, but freezing filters. I went to Aquamira tabs for the cold weather portion. It seems to work fine so far. And that slept in the tent last night instead of the shelter. I like that okay. I preferred it. It was really crowded. It got full, so RTK and I went out to our tents. Okay, so I babbled a lot. Hope I've touched on a couple of good topics for your consideration of your section or through hike. And now that I've got a clear trail, I'm going to put you away and I am going to expeditiously move out. Weather was calling for rain today. Had a little sprinkle this morning. It's been nice so far. Unfortunately, I'm actually wearing my poncho. I have to take that off, but look at that. That I consider a blessing. I mean, it's supposed to be raining, and look at that view with that light, dappled light down on those mountains. Wow, cool. Okay, as you can see, the trail has heard my wailing song. The ice has parted. Scars has risen from the ashes. I saw dumbass Dan. I think he wandered into the woods to poop for the third time. Don't forget the 6-inch cat hole. And now, it's just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us, me and I. Okay, so here we go. Elle would not be happy with this sign, Snake Den Ridge. But, significantly, see the second listing there? Tri-Corner Knob, 3.7 miles back. I've been on the trail about an hour and 10 minutes. So even with the ice there, I have been hauling. Cosby Knob, en route. Cars out. Alrighty, another one down. Low gap. Heading to Mount Camerer Trail. Don't know where that is, but according to the white blaze up that hillside, it's in that direction. Besides being beautiful, I thought I would just show you that for the first time in my through hike, the water sources are not only not flowing, they're not gushing. So we have had even intermittent water sources completely filled with water, and most of the stable water sources have just been gushing with water because of all the precipitation. And today is the first day that a bunch of us have noted that we have intermittent water sources and they're not always full. So just a few days of no rain or not significant amounts of precipitation can impact these water sources really quickly. But we just hadn't experienced it before. 2.9 till I'm out of the Smokies. For me, personally, as a personal milestone, before I started this, getting through the Smokies was and is the most important milestone of this entire 2190.6. There may be experiences and things that change that, but coming into this hike, the one place that I feared, the one place that I set sort of a personal agenda and personal milestone for, was the hike through the Smokies. The reason is because the altitude, and particularly the trail south of Newfound Gap, the difficulty of that trail with the weather and the timing, the time of the year, in my mind culminated in the only area that I actually had internal reservations and even a degree of fear. No other area, including the whites, causes me the level of concern that I had for the Smokies coming into this. Now, you know, I did tactical first responder training up in the whites, and I respect the hell out of that area. So it's not like I'm belittling or dismissing any other. It's simply the timing of the year and that sort of thing. This to me will be the most significant milestone of this entire trip. 4 milestones that were established prior to my arrival. So I am super excited, super happy with myself that I've done this. This is the moment that you will recall, I think 7 days ago, at the southern terminus of the park, and now at the northern terminus. I will once again deposit my